can start streaming and
there's your terminal. Very, 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 very small.
Wait a sec, we can change it to zoom in. Oh, that's just Control plus. Control plus. No. Zoom in.
Just click it to it out.
Yeah, I just want that everybody can see.
Does it not want it?
I don't know, double.
No, it doesn't want it, does it? Yeah.
If
Weird.
Can everybody see this? No. Oh, that will take a bit. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I can see on the screen very well. Like, visible? Okay, guys, if you could. I know. Hello? If I can, if you want to get closer, or all right. So today I'd like to address, some of our issues which we have. Not issues, but let's say ease our life on using a terminal, any kind of terminal. So I've noticed it would be a good idea to learn the basics of a terminal, because now you like typing, and in a terminal you shouldn't be typing too much. You should be reusing things. As a developer, you should be pretty comfortable. So, let's say, I don't know, what do you use, guys, like a terminal? Which commands you do know?
Git status, git branch.
CD, ls.
Okay.
GitLab.
Git. Okay, so use a Git, because you're actually calling Git a Git. All right. All right. So essentially, if I want to write something, so let's say the most used command, on a daily, weekly, any basis is ls. So list. So let's say if I run ls, then I'll contain something. Second thing, no. I don't know. All right. So second thing is like if I list and I wrote something big one. So how can I access my history? So history, probably lots of people will know that in any terminal, in any bash terminal, you can put like history. But how could I recall, let's say from a history, I want to run tests. But that command might be much longer, multi-line command. So I would like not to retype and not to make a mistake in doing it. So first thing which you should know is how to recall a command.
How to
Recall a command from a history, so you don't have to type everything.
It has a number on it.
Yes, excellent. Spot. So essentially you put exclamation mark in front of it and you just recall it. That's it. To demonstrate it, I can actually, let's say, create a directory and a file. So let's say another very useful is, make dir or md. It could be make dir, test. And let's say another one which is on a daily basis, which is very useful. Okay, it's cd. So cd test, and I just write letter T, and after I can tab it. Okay, there are multiple options. In a bash, in a terminal environment, you don't finish a line. So let's say there are 2 folders here. But good practice would be like you write a command, what you want to do, and after you tab it and let it to complete the full, full word or sentence, whatever it is. Because otherwise you might make a mistake. And yeah, so test, tab, because lots of times you try to type, but if you write 100 times, you're going to make 1 time or twice a mistake, and that's a bad practice. Okay, what else? We are in a directory, we can create a few files, let's say. Another very useful command is touch. which Davide told us. So touch, I don't know, test dot, I don't know, XLS. So Excel file, we can create another use case. If I wanna
So
create,
what happens now?
touch created the file, and the file is created. Let's say if I need to create like 5 files, so I would do like just arrow up, which I can cycle through previous ones, and I can just, I don't know, add 1 or 2. But I can do the same way because like that is valid still. And if I list, there are 3 files. Linux, I don't know, terminal bash, everything is, I don't know, is a directory, and the files are actually treated exactly the same way. It's an object in a terminal. So it doesn't really care, and extensions, they don't really matter. Let's say in a Mac, I wouldn't be able to tell for sure. If you're gonna be working like, let's say as a developer, and you'll have some shell access, SSH, like remote access where you're gonna be connecting through the terminal to some place, one very useful command is actually pwd, which shows like, yeah, it shows where I am. So let's say if I SSH into something, I might not be connecting at a root level, or I'm at home as a certain user. So that is a command to remember. Another useful thing is you can combine a few commands in a row. Let's say I have a history. I wrote a few simple things, and I can recall. So let's say history, which I can't remember. So 199, 2000, and 201. So let's say to recall from a history, like I put exclamation mark, and that's it. It shows the command which I ran, and it applies it and runs it again. So that's very useful. And if I needed, let's say, to do more, I can do like 199, and where's n operator? Can you see n operator on the screen? So let's say I need to recall 2000. Hopefully that does a thing. Yeah. So essentially, it created two files, and we can actually redo exactly the same steps using the same one. So.
Does it run them sequentially?
What? It runs sequentially. So first it runs 1, and after applies another 1. So on a daily, weekly basis, I use the same thing. I recall, let's say, to refresh repositories, let's say on a Linux, and after upgrade. So I usually run 2 commands at the same time. I just reference, I don't know, pick up from.
When you chain them, my question
Yeah.
was, does it wait for the first one to finish to start the second one?
That one, I wouldn't be able to tell for sure, but no, that actually does. It does, at least on a Linux, but you would need probably to check it. You can test.
Okay, so, you know, in this case, since we always do
Right.
git add, git commit, git, oh, well, I mean, I guess the commit, the message would be different actually. I was thinking to create a chain for running the 3 of them, but
Yeah, you can
obviously
do.
the message is different all the time. For a commit, no?
Yeah.
So you have to.
You can do, but like something which you create, like if you want to repeat the steps, you don't want to write, because at some point you're going to find that to write something big and long script. And if you have to retype something big which run already once, you do want to make sure that you're calling the right way.
Yeah.
I don't know, we can write something very complicated, but that's not really the case for today.
You could do it with your fetch upstream one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fetch upstream, yeah, you can chain things, but another thing in Linux is to remember, be careful, like especially like rm command, which is not really visible now on the screen. So
Yeah, what are you going to type next?
Yeah.
Please don't type.
yeah, rm, so remove command, like Linux expects that you know what you're doing. It will never complain if you destroy in silence your system. No, you can do like that's not a joke. I can run one.
I know it's not a joke.
Yeah.
which
That's
is why
not
I'm
a
quite
joke.
nervous.
Like no, this is just this usage. Oh, actually, yeah. Use I just noticed. Yeah. So this is regular user in a terminal, which is designated as $sign in any terminal you see. If you SSH somewhere, so still this one tells you, am I super user? I can do everything, and I really bring my system to the knees, or I can do what user is capable of or designated to. So that thing you have to be always really careful. Yes.
And if I can say something, for those that use a Mac, one day we were someone didn't know what sudo means. So it's related to this. Sudo is the super user on the Mac OS system. And anything, well, maybe not exactly, but however similar. My point is, that when they tell you, oh, if it doesn't work, just run it with sudo, just be aware what you're doing. You're basically using top privilege on your system to put an action through regardless of what the system tells you back. So, for example, you try and install a certain npm package and it doesn't work. You run it with sudo and it works. It works because it's basically not, you are bypassing the, how can I say, the checks. But strictly speaking, it's not, I don't think it's best practice, but however, it's common practice. That's how I understand it at least.
Okay, for
It's not best practice, it's common practice.
no, sudo is okay. Sudo you run as administrative user. You elevate yourself. I think you grant yourself rights. Because sudo is an external like library, and I can't remember in my, let's say, Linux system. I don't know if I have actually sudo. No, I do have. But there are certain like Debian. Does it come with sudo?
Yep.
Let's say it does. But not every system. Let's say on the Linux wise, on Mac, if you want to work as administrator, you have to raise your level to administrator. Yeah, because sudo is like one-off. But if you would be like SSH into something, you'd probably, I don't know, sometimes you connect as a root, and actually root is if nobody's aware, so it's a hash. Yeah, I think it's a hash symbol, or how it's called.
What do you mean?
So here, like this one is a user, let's say, sudo su. That will ask for Grace password, but this one can change into root user. So this one we can terminate. Okay. So $sign initiates that regular user is able to do it, and root user is designated in the hashes. Great.
Not sure where.
At the beginning. Wait, I can check. Term. 1 sec. Sudo su. Yeah. So I don't know if this is the character. That's always at the start of a line. It tells you your user privileges. So that stuff you have to be really careful.
Yeah.
Okay, so hash. What do I have more? Actually, sudo grep. All right. Oh, actually, to check what's in the file, you might find actually two useful commands. So one is cat. Cat, I don't know, space on the file. So cat will read the file and will bring its contents into terminal.
Everything on the file.
Yes. So yes, that's very useful. And another one is less. Less, it brings something similar to Vim. So output is not being added into terminal like output. To show something, I can, I don't know, echo, thinking. Just a sec. I'll show the difference maybe on the screen if I can. So this is a test. Test. All right. So if I cat printed out, okay, there is only one sentence in between terminal, I don't know, prompts. But let's say if I use less doesn't display in a terminal. It shows. Can anybody see? No.
I can't see from here.
I can't. Okay.
Right, YouTube.
So the two people. Sorry, I know. Usually it's a bad practice. Yeah.
Okay.
So cat displays.
Open.
It's an editor. Yeah. Think about it as an editor. So cats won't pollute your terminal. No cat. Less. Other yeah. Less won't pollute because it brings just a file.
Cat is the print on the terminal.
Cat will print the contents of a file, yes, into. Another useful, let's say, command is a grep, where you can filter things and you can apply regex. Usually you use after something. So I cat the file, and after I apply grep, which will filter through the file and will display something. I can actually do cat. Okay, I'm not using my best practices, but that's fine. Okay, pipe. No.
You look under the pipe. The pipe's down there.
Okay, so grab this. Okay. All right. In this one you can't see, but like in a different, let's say, shells, it would color the output which matches. And I'm not sure in the Mac if it's the same thing. If it applies similar, I can't tell.
It is meant to show you all the time that it appears. Grep can find, if you have a log file, this application did something and you're looking for particular information, you can put some keywords and it will display lines which it will match. On a daily basis, I actually haven't used it much, only doing something. Okay, what are useful commands? Something else? Alias, history, yeah.
Probably I didn't get something, but I was thinking with history, no?
Yep.
It's good because you can see all the history. But if I have to scroll down all the history, I spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes to find the comment that I want. Maybe it would be better to type it again.
You can type, but if you know, give or take at what time, you can scroll through terminal much faster.
Because now that I have about 500
Commands, yeah.
commands, so
Yeah.
I have to look, I want this.
But if it was something more than one liner, so you combined a few of them, and if you have bigger, and it's important, let's say, to match it, like to rerun exactly the same way, it's much easier, like exclamation mark and just a command name, or multiple of those, because you can always combine. I created, I don't know, folder structure, something else using terminal. So let's say if you applied like, I don't know, 10 steps, you can always combine them. So that allows you, and with history, you always show that you're gonna rerun exactly the same thing.
For example, if I have to mount some hard drive external,
Yes.
I can use this combination
If
of
you
mount, unmount.
Mount and mount,
Do
because
this every time I reboot. Okay.
Another thing is on a shell which we are using, like, is man. I don't know, manuals and help pages. So if you don't know the command, it's a very good idea to look for manual. So let's say, I don't know, let's say I've got ls. You can use help this way. And this way displays like what it can do, what switch operators it has, let's say. So help can help you find the correct switches and everything. And another way, other way around, you have a man. Man is a manual. Right. All right. Anybody following? Not following?
No, I'm following you, but I have another question.
Yes. So
On
let's
the
say
history, so
man ls.
For example, listen, there is a chance to filter the same, in the history, no? There are
Yeah.
lots of commands that are the same. There is a chance to filter only the command, the unique command, instead to have a lot of
Oh.
git check out. So it would be easy to
Oh,
scroll.
if you know, okay, so you know what you're looking for and you want to filter it.
I don't
My
want the copy of the
Yeah,
command.
I
So
know.
like the list would be
You wanna,
Short.
you have a lot of commits and you wanna check one, you can do it with the history.
there is a command, for example, history, so
grep.
grep.
Grep, because we can actually try. I'm not 100% sure it will work, but let's say grep, and I know that touch was used. I don't know if I have to maybe. One sec.
Maybe some actually, history and F.
Yeah. Actually, you can if you know what you're looking for. So I see what was created beforehand. So all the touch commands which came up under this line, say you can. So if you're looking for git something, you type in and it will filter for you and shows just the lines where it matches a pattern. So I was not sure, but so Gray's history is long one, 2,000 lines. Bar, okay, this way I can just use arrow. It becomes only a few. The light.
Yeah, no.
Yes, so sorry, but like every command in this one filtered view is only touch, or I don't know. We can change it to ls or no, ls is probably going to be multiple times. But you can see ls. It usually doesn't come with any option besides a or I know it's not the best one, but yeah.
When you do clear, you don't clear the history, or do you?
No, you clear the terminal.
Just the terminal.
If you close the terminal, it's gone.
No, the history.
You don't
persists.
know. History stays. History is a preset in some system. Where I can't tell for sure. In some systems, there were like 1,000 entries. But Linux and Macs, they do keep, so you can always reuse. So if you use like grep, you can always access correct command you're looking for.
It's just a hidden file in your system somewhere. Usually in a user folder, but it depends.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. What else? Another thing which will save you the day might be alias. Alias command. So you can set your. Okay, so you can create your own aliases on something like very long commands or a change of command, and you can create alias. So you can add in a batch history, but I think that's a bit more complicated. But the best uses would be like alias like -p to look for shorthands. So shorthand is I don't know, alias, no p. That's it. Okay, so this system actually has only single alias, which is predefined by default. My system has quite a few, so let's say make directory, like let's say on my system I can create just typing md something. On this one, this is not preset, but you can customize yourself. So if you have your system and you want to save the time, you can add complicated commands in your bash, in your profile, which you'll be able to call just typing md or anything else as you set it. So
you basically create your own.
you can create your own,
and you can create persistence not only in this session, but usually systems they do come preset. So if anybody has like a Windows or something like PowerShell, they have lots of aliases on that. So like ls would be like a dir or list directory, like because PowerShell brings compatibility layer, kinda, because you can reuse Linux commands in a PowerShell, kinda directly, without any modifications because of aliases. And in Linux, you can create yourself. What else? Important things. Yeah. There are things as wildcards and all destructive actions in Linux. So rm-rf. So let's say if you delete the file using the terminal, you need to be very, very careful. Because if you do something, it will never ask you, are you sure? So, no, I think I already said this one, but if you put any wildcard, you have to remember that it will expand anything, it will match any pattern. So, we won't demonstrate this on this system. No, there are actually online instances where you can connect to the terminal and you can play around, like a Docker image which contains terminal, where you type in a command and you see how the instance dies. But it's okay because the Docker image gets reloaded, so yeah. Another good actually command is on Mac Linux uses top. So to see running processes, if you need like to find process ID, let's say top, and where is PID? Yeah. So top command is like your system monitor, but it gives you very quick access to, let's say, process ID. I have something running, and I don't know, Control C, and if I want to kill it, I just have to know, let's say, process ID which it started. So there is another like kill, and that's where I would provide just a number, which is very useful if you want to terminate something not gracefully. It will terminate process, but for that you would need to know process ID, which you can get using top. So that is useful. Yeah. If you need, let's say, quickly edit, yeah. Another thing is if you need to quickly edit the files, very useful I find is Nano. Nano as a text editor within terminal, so you can quickly add a line and save a file.
It seems kind of editing personally, editing a file from the terminal.
Yes, if
seems
you need
a little bit more. I don't know.
It's fast. It's fast. If I need to change one value in a file, I'll just do in a nano this and just update the file and save it. It takes less than a minute to modify, add like something, compared to launching an application or a file, clicking and looking where that file. But if I'm in a terminal and already in a system, or if you are connecting remotely, let's say through terminal, that's kind of your only option, unless you want to transfer whole file, which might take a while and it depends on the connection. So, right. Okay, shorthands. I'm thinking that's complex. All right. Any questions? Anybody would like to ask terminal?
Do you know? Because I saw a friend of mine, and he was studying something inside, common inside. I think it could be basis or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a sort of a more tasks to do at the same time. Like the combination that you said before. There is something that you can do also with braces or parentheses.
You can create objects. You can do that one, but that's well beyond.
It was about the file or something, pretty multiple file. You can do something like.
you can run basic scripts, but I don't do actual. That's well.
No, was it something common? The one you showed before, the combination. But no, I don't remember.
I'm thinking. Let's say I can create another file. Let's say this is. One more thing which you can actually arrow to the right, which might be useful to add a line or overwrite file, which you might find useful, because if you do, if you use only single arrow, you can completely wipe a file very quickly, and if you use double 2 arrows, you add an extra line at the end of the file. I'm thinking what else can be useful. Nothing?
I think we covered
I don't know. It's like,
ground actually.
no, I'm sorry, it's the terminal is not super visible. It's a bad time of the day.
I was good to have YouTube and
Yeah,
they
you
see
can follow
it.
online.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Vivius.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you very much.
Yeah, just leave it. I'll delete this one.
Yeah. Not too.